Hey everybody, this is Bailey and welcome back to episode 2 of Full Throttle Friday. It is Friday, February 3rd, and I want to talk to you guys today about the key ingredients of success: mindset, focus, and the power of visualization. Now, visualization plays a key role in many great athletes and musicians. Most obviously, of course, visualization helps to increase confidence and motivation. Now, less obviously, it's actually been proven to increase uh, muscle tone, muscle memory. So, this was discovered by physiologist Edmund Jacobson, where he had his subjects visualize certain athletic activities. And through different scientific detection equipment, he discovered very real but subtle movements in the muscles that correspond to um, if they were actually performing the activity. So this is while they were imagining it. Now, further research revealed that a person who consistently visualized certain physical skills develops a term that we know today as muscle memory. Now, a lot of people think about muscle memory as practicing something over and over and over, but through the repetition of visualization, this has actually been proven to be as effective, if not more effective. Now, I'll later get into this, but this was by an Australian psychologist, Alan Richardson, and confirming this phenomenon, he had his subjects practice three groups of basketball players practice free throws, and the first group, it was a 20-day experiment, and the first group practiced a set amount of free throws on every day for 20 days. The second group practiced on the first day and the 20th day, and the third group practiced on the first day and the 20th day. Now, the second group of people, all they did is practice on the first day and the 20th day. And the third group of people, what they did is they practiced, I believe it was 20 minutes of visualization every single day after practice. And what they would do is, if they were to miss a shot, they would visualize in their mind making the shot. And what they would do is consistently visualize making the free throws, making shots, feeling the feeling of the ball leaving their hands, and feel the excitement of the ball going through the hoop. And what this research actually proved is the first group of people obviously improved their skill set 24%. And as you can guess, the second group of people that only practiced 2 days out of 20, their skill did not improve. However, the third group of people that visualized every day and practiced 18 days less was just as effective as the first group, and their skills improved 24%. So, what that leads us to understand a little bit about the mind is that your subconscious mind really doesn't know if it's performing the activity or not if you have intense visualization and focus. So, what I want to talk a little bit about is how this applies to sales, how we can increase our sales, and using the practice of focus, positive self talk, and visualization. So, there's another experiment that I'll go into later where um, the research showed improvement in muscle memory. But let's talk about, having a psychic edge. I think a little bit about the Cleveland Cavaliers and how they won their first championship for Cleveland. So this was a rematch of the previous championship, and uh, game one was sort of a blowout. It was played in Golden State because they had the best record ever going into the playoffs. They had home field advantage, and so the way that the championship series works, it's a best of seven series, and if you have home field advantage, then you play, you know, the first two games at home and the last two games at home, and the opponent gets three games at home. So Golden State had four games at home, and home field advantage has a huge impact on mindset, on focus. People tend to play better at home in front of their fans. So the first game was a blowout. Golden State won 104 to 89. The second game was an even bigger blowout. Golden State won 110 to 77. And the third game, Cleveland ended up winning by about 30 points. And the fourth game, Golden State won. So Golden State right now at this point is up 3 games to 1, and all they have to do is win one more game, and they've won their back-to-back championship. Now, what actually happened was there was sort of a uniting of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they had nothing to lose. I mean, they had never won a championship. Their city had never won a championship, so they were playing for a bigger purpose, and they ended up winning the very next game, um, and they ended up, winning the whole enchilada, which was amazing. Um, it was in overtime, and the last game they won 93-89. And a little bit about that is Kyrie Irving, who hit the game-winning shot, was doing a lot of practice and study on visualization and its impacts. And what he did is he was very calm and collected in the moment. The game was in Golden State, and he was just calm and he made the shot under pressure. And that shows that athletes are able to perform better when their mindset is positive. They've definitely practice has a big role in it, but there's many different examples where somebody has the skill set, they put in the work, and they have a negative attitude, and that definitely doesn't win championships. And on the other side of the coin, it was almost seeing Cleveland get to Game 7, down 3 games to 1, was very debilitating for the Golden State Warriors. So that mindset played a role in their loss. So this is what parapsychologist Rhea White calls the psychic edge. And this intense concentration and visualization of what they seek to do brings uh, psychokinesis into the equation. So that's the example of Kyrie Irving and the rest of the Cleveland Cavaliers winning the last 3 games in a row to win the championship. Jack Nicklaus, he's another great example. He was one of the best golfers that ever played the game. And what he said is that willpower is what separates the great athlete from the average and mediocre athlete. He said that Arnold Palmer would see the ball go into the hole and he would just will it there. You can notice this when golfers, before they putt, what they'll do is they'll bend down and they'll look at the slope, and they'll take a few practice swings. And what those practice swings do is they're visualizing the act of hitting the ball and it going into the hole. You'll see batters do this before they swing, before they step up to the plate. They might step out of the box and swing. Ben Hogan, another major figure in golf history, said that if he concentrated hard enough on where he wanted the ball to go, that he could put it there. Another example of this is, I mean, we were talking about free throws, and you'll see people at the free throw line, and they'll take a few um, visualized shots before they actually shoot their shot. Now, one of my favorite examples of this is when Jordan played the Denver Nuggets, and Michael Jordan versus Dikembe Mutombo. It was towards the end of the game. Jordan was fouled, and he gets 2 free throws. He makes the first. Mutombo taunts him, and he says something. You can't really tell, but on the video, you can research it. It's Jordan famous eyes closed free throw. But he smiles, and then he closes his eyes, and he makes the free throw. And he was interviewed afterwards, and he said Mutombo taunted and said, "I bet you can't make it with your eyes shut." So when you practice visualization enough, and you've got that muscle memory, that it's part of you. There's an Israeli psychic, Uri Geller, who says in his autobiography that as a child he would shoot countless free throws, and uh, he was just intrigued that if the ball ever rolled on the rim, he would just will it in his mind to go into the basket, and every time it would go into the basket. In football, New York Giants tight end Gary Ballman talks about how he made the impossible catch. And there was a ball that was overthrown to him, and he said that he imagined the ball slowing down in time and ending up in his fingertips in his hand as the ball was in the air, and he made the catch. So these kinds of events are hardly uncommon. And Dr. White, who is an avid sports fan, what she said was, competitive sports demand a great deal of participating athletes. They must be strongly motivated, employ intense concentration, yet remain relaxed, visualize their targets, and drive themselves beyond their normal limitations of their muscles. It shouldn't seem strange then that some of these athletes, as they psych themselves up to this extra mental and physical output, are using psychokinesis. So next I want to talk to you guys about mental skill versus physical ability. Now when it comes to professional competitive sports, mental skill is just as important as physical ability. I mean, listen to any post-game show and you'll hear winners and losers talk about focus and attitude along with teamwork and dedication to the practice. They're all important, but hard work, practice, and dedication without the focus and attitude doesn't win championships. For example, Victoria Azarenka, who, when she defeated Maria Sharapova in the Australian Open, what she said is that when she was down one set, that she had to get inside her mind and get back into the moment to win the match. And inevitably she did. When Tiger Woods lost the Masters tournament in April of 2012, he told interviewers that he knew exactly what to do, he just didn't do it. And that when he was out there, he just didn't trust it at all. So what do these remarks by top athletes have to do with our ability to close more sales? Everything. Think about hobbies and other pursuits that you're naturally inclined and motivated to do. You probably welcome challenges and enjoy seeing improvements, right? Well, this is the same for sales. Because the better you get, the more fun it is to continue. And increasing your closing percentages and making more money is what you intend to do, right? Well, let's talk about peak performance. Think about times when you were on top of your game. When you were knocking the ball out of the park, what did your daily routine look like? Or what do top producers in your industry consistently do to give them an edge? If you want to learn my story about how I went from bottom producer to top producer 9 months in a row in a home security sales company, go back into my videos and look at champions are driven by emotional motivators. Now let's talk about the benefits of improving your performance. So in parenting, I have 2 kids, and sometimes I will try and get them to do a task like clean their room or eat their vegetables, and I'll give them an offer, and I may sweeten the pot by suggesting that if they do that, then they might get some ice cream. So the benefit of them doing what I ask is that they get ice cream. Now they may visualize uh, the type of ice cream that they want to eat, how it tastes in their mouth, and the feeling of actually getting ice cream. Now, this small example is actually very powerful because it has a lot to do with selling you on the benefit of increasing your sales skills. Now, just like there's certain things that you should do, you should clean your room, you should eat your vegetables. Sometimes you need to reward yourself for putting in the work and the effort and consistently doing those things. And oftentimes in sales, we get into rhythms or routines where we have bad habits and we neglect certain things like eating vegetables or keeping our room clean. And we may make sales and we may be top producers, but adding in those components, maybe we think that we're taking a shortcut by not doing that. So what I suggest is for you to sort of set small goals and get back on the path and the routine and train yourself to get back to the fundamentals and the basics. And what that is your sales skills, your public speaking skills, your presentation skills, your listening skills, your prospecting skills, and even product knowledge. And for me, doing something like this, whether it be live broadcasting or webinars, took a lot of diligent effort that I had put on for a long period of time. Now, when learning the basics of golf, tennis, running, or other physical exercises, people generally experience initial rapid improvement. Tony Robbins actually talks about this, how at a certain point, when progress slows down, that most people are likely to lose their enthusiasm during this plateau or down cycle because of boredom and frustration. Now, that's where mental training comes in. By engaging with your mind, you can actually make the activity more interesting and more satisfying. And you'll feel more naturally motivated to stay with it. Now, the ultimate goal here should be progress, not perfection. And when we seek after progress and we have measuring points to ourselves where we've gotten better, that actually keeps us motivated and it keeps us moving forward. And when perfection is our goal and we fall short of that, which we always do, then it gets frustrating and debilitating. Now that's where mindset, focus, and the power of visualization come in. Positive self-talk, or how you talk to yourself about the activity that you're performing, is central. The more you think about how difficult or inconvenient the task is, or the more you complain about it to yourself or others, then the more resistance that you have about performing it. Now, I've seen this happen in sales organizations I've worked for, where you have a negative Nelly that complains horizontally rather than vertically up the ladder in a closed environment to a manager, and that negativity spreads like cancer. Therefore, get into the habit of thinking about selling in positive terms, even when it seems unpleasant. For example, my friend Kevin Hudaba, who's in real estate sales, was on the way to show a property and his car died. So what he ended up doing was hitching a ride and showing his properties for the day and then coming back and focusing on taking care of his vehicle. So he overcame this setback by thinking of how well he was handling the situation rather than the negativity around the situation. Now, self-talk can also predict your success or your failure. Like when hitting a golf ball over a stream, if you say "uh-oh" before you hit the ball, you're almost doomed to land in the water. Now, the next ingredient to success in selling is focus. More baseball players and tennis players have missed the mark and fallen short because of lack of focus in the heat of battle, in the moment. A baseball batter gets up to the plate and he gets that uh-oh thought, or he starts to second guess himself, or to think hit the ball. Inevitably, he misses the ball. Same thing with a tennis player, and this is because of um, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind become in conflict with one another, and it actually affects our muscle memory. Now, professional athletes often talk about dwelling on their last mistake or thinking about future mistakes is what often causes their demise. Now, you can't control negative thoughts from entering in your mind, but you can control how they affect you. And you do this by focusing on the now and not on the past or the future. And self-defeating thoughts will just fade into the background and be barely noticeable. Now let's talk about the power of visualization. Related to how you talk to yourself, visualization is how you picture yourself doing the activity. As we previously discussed, research shows that visualization can be very powerful in improving performance as well as muscle strength, according to Dr. Alan Richardson's basketball free throw study. Now let's talk about the evidence that visualization might improve muscle strength. So there was a study that Dr. Vinod Ranganathan and his colleagues told a group of subjects to imagine flexing the muscle in their small finger, and then another group of subjects to imagine flexing their bicep muscles. And both of these groups were told to think as strongly as they could about moving the muscle they were actually moving. And both of these groups also were told not to exercise for a period of 12 weeks during this study. And group A that visualized flexing their muscles in their finger and their biceps showed vast improvement in their muscle tone. And now there was only 30 subjects in this, and the second group that was told not to exercise obviously didn't show any improvement. And what this actually tells us is very powerful, and it suggests that focused thinking about moving a muscle sends brain signals that activate the muscle cells. So a way to apply this in sales is by using neuro-linguistic programming. And I highly suggest that everyone get a copy of Dr. Donald Moyne and Kenneth Lloyd's book titled Unlimited Selling Power. And this is an excellent resource to develop your conversational hypnosis techniques for prospects, as well as developing your self-hypnosis techniques for yourself, which will help you reprogram your subconscious mind to attract your desired goals. I highly recommend it. So in conclusion, you can apply all of the above methods to improve your ability to close more deals. And by consistently practicing the secrets of positive self-talk, focus, and visualization, you will inevitably start to develop a laser-like focus and a roadmap to success in all areas of your life. So with consistent practice, you'll start seeing improvement in both your technique as well as your attitude, and hopefully your bank account as well. So that's it for this session. I appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and check in the links below for a free copy of Eric Lofholm's book, The System. Thanks, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Talk to you later.